Sorry for the delay, everybody. We'll get started here soon. All right, I think we have everybody back. Do I have a motion to return to open session? Second. I have a motion and a second. Ms. Woods, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin? Yes. Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Mr. Chewbacca?
Yes.
6 in favor.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion to certify closed session that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed sessions were heard, discussed, or considered?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Ms. Woods, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Mr. Chewbacca?
Yes.
6 in favor.
Motion carries. Can I have a motion to deny the extension and terminate contract for bid 22-04 and direct the staff to communicate this to the contractor?
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Woods, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Mr. Chewbacca?
Yes.
6 in favor.
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. I apologize that we're getting started a little bit late. We had a long closed session ahead of time. As we begin tonight's meeting, I ask those in the audience, please silence your cell phones. Cell phone notifications, even the little beeping, can be distracting to others in the audience and to the board as we conduct our business. Thank you. Our student representatives this evening are Mercurius Yassa from Christiansburg High School and Jenna Gadd from Eastern Montgomery High School. Did I say that right? All right, great. Will you guys please read our mission, vision, and core values?
MCPS is an innovative educational community. We value diversity and we are committed to equity and inclusion. MCPS empowers learners to realize success in an ever-changing global society through collaboration with communities, families, staff, and students. MCPS provides a safe, engaging learning environment and intentional exposure to positive social, emotional, and academic experiences.
Beliefs. All students can learn in order to pursue their dreams.
Schools are safe places of joy, wonder, and creativity.
Every person deserves to be loved, valued, and respected.
Kindness is an essential skill of a responsible, productive community leader.
The diversity of our community is one of our greatest strengths.
All people deserve equitable access to opportunities and resources.
Every child deserves an advocate.
Honoring the voices of students and other stakeholders strengthens the school community.
Open communication and feedback are vital to our growth.
Learning and teaching are collective efforts that begin at birth and involve the entire community.
Relationship building and high expectations are foundational to student success.
Thank you both. Ms. Gadd or Mr. Yassa, do you have any reports to share from your school at this time?
For CHS, some upcoming events. The Regional 3D Wrestling Tournament is this weekend, and the Regional Swim Meet is actually happening tonight. The Indoor Percussion Competition is happening on February 25th, and recently we had the National Honor Society induction ceremony. And lastly, the Student Advisory Committee met today, and we discussed how we can make the bus loop more efficient and some tactics on how to make CHS a safer and better place.
So at Eastern Montgomery High School, a great deal of good has happened since I last spoke at a meeting. To begin with, students have begun their second semester of school strong and have adjusted to new classes accordingly. Class meetings were held to select classes for next year. Our girls basketball team defeated Blacksburg in the Danny Jonas Christmas Tournament Championship, finishing 3-0 overall with wins against Bradford and Tazewell as well, which I'm proud to say I was a part of. We also broke a school record for most wins in the regular season with a record of 18-2 at the time. Beta Club is planning to do our annual Hearts of Hope fundraiser with all proceeds going to the Ronald McDonald House of Southwest Virginia. Interact Club will be holding this year's blood drive on March 10th, as well as Habitat for Humanity soon after. MAC teams began competing this semester with wins over Pulaski. Overall, it's been a strong start to the second semester.
Okay, thank you both for those reports. A lot of good things going on, it sounds like. All right, next on the agenda is the beginning of our recognitions, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Bragan, who is down on the floor.
Feels a little awkward for me. Is it on? Sorry. Thank you, Board President, Board Chair Chewbacca. This feels a little awkward to me being on this side of the dais, so forgive me if I stumble a little bit. But a significant event happened last week in one of our schools that I think warrants us to pause and spend a moment expressing gratitude and thanks for this individual who saved a young man's life. And if not for the actions of this law enforcement officer, there'd be one of our students would not be walking the earth today. And it's that significant and that important an event that took place last week at Auburn Middle School that I'd like to call up Deputy Stephen Parks and Sheriff Hank Parton so we could show a little bit of our appreciation. I want to say, Deputy Parks, on behalf of the administration and the school board for the Montgomery County Public Schools, we applaud your efforts in intervening and enacting emergency procedures that saved one of our students' lives. If it wasn't for your swift and excellent actions at the time of need, one of our children may have actually passed away at school last week. It goes to show the power of having law enforcement in our schools and having that partnership with them, which we have a great partnership with all of our law enforcement communities. Deputy Parks, I, as the superintendent, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of all of our parents and board members, are eternally grateful for your efforts and applaud you and wish you nothing but the best of luck. Best of luck, and got a little token of our appreciation to say thank you. Thank you, Board Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Bragg, and thank you so much, Deputy Parks, too. Sheriff Parton. We'll have a chance maybe afterwards. What are you thinking? What's that? Get a picture with the board, you're saying? Oh, yeah. If y'all wanted a group picture, come on up.
Yeah.
It's not every month that we celebrate something like this, so come on.
We are very appreciative of all of our SROs.
That's what I was going to say.
Thank you guys so
Thank you all.
much for
Everyone.
everything you do.
Yep. I think maybe we should just stand behind them at this point. I don't know. Thank you all again. All right, next on the agenda is February Seniors of the Month. I think Mr. Pauly and our principals will come up to help with this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Bragan. A very special highlight of our board meeting is the recognition of a Senior of the Month from each of our 4 high schools. Photos and leadership profiles are displayed on the screens in the boardroom and will also be on display in the lobby of the central office. Our presentation format provides a snapshot of each senior and a quote from their administrator or teacher who nominated them for this recognition. I will introduce in order that they will come up to the microphone to make these presentations. Principal of Auburn High School, Mr. Chris Stewart, will lead us off, followed by Adam Simpson, principal of Blacksburg High School, followed by Gene Jones, principal of Christiansburg High School, and then assistant principal of Eastern Montgomery High School, Matt McDaniel, will be making the presentation for the February Senior of the Month. And as you may recall from last month, we had 1 makeup. So Mr. McDaniel will do 2. Mr. Stewart.
Good evening, members of the board. It is my privilege to present to you Auburn High School Senior of the Month. This evening, I would like to take a moment and recognize Avery McKenna Zuckerwar as our February Senior of the Month. At this time, I'd like to invite Avery and her family to come and join me. I'd like to read just a brief statement from one of our staff highlighting the outstanding student that Avery is. It is my great pleasure to honor Avery Zuckerwar as the February Student of the Month. For 4 years, Avery has been an integral member of the yearbook staff, the last 2 years serving as editor while also excelling in dual enrollment classes and garnering accolades in both volleyball and softball. Regardless of the venue or level of stress, Avery is the calm, quiet center of the storm. She is totally unflappable, always positive, and somehow always in a good mood. Her defining characteristics are humility, empathy, and determination. Avery is a remarkable young woman and is deserving of being awarded the Auburn High School Student of the Month. Congratulations, Avery.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Bregan. It is my honor and privilege to present Laura Prince as the Senior of the Month for February for Blacksburg High School. At this time, I'd like to invite Laura and her mother to come join me up here. Laura, this is what Mr. Pearman, your band director, had to say about you. Laura has served the Blacksburg Band Program as the principal trumpet for the BHS Symphonic Band for the past 3 years. She has also been a featured soloist for the BHS Marching Band and served as band captain and trumpet section leader. Laura has been selected to the all-district band every year since 8th grade. As a senior this fall, Laura earned the principal trumpet chair for the South Central Regional Orchestra and performed as a soloist in their concert. Laura also is an accomplished pianist and performs frequently on solo recitals. Laura is also an outstanding student and a member of the BHS swim and dive team, which you'll hear more about later. And Laura plans to major in chemistry in college and is still trying to figure out where to go in the fall. Congratulations, Laura.
Good evening, Chairman Chewbacca, Dr. Bregan, board members. It is my pleasure to introduce the February Senior of the Month for Christiansburg High School, Braylon Wilburn. Will Braylon and her family please come forward? Braylon is a senior at Christiansburg High School, where she participates as a softball player. She's on our varsity basketball team and is the captain for the past 2 seasons. She's an SGA member and president for the 22-23 class. She's a Beta member, National Honor Society, Key Club member, and Phi Theta Kappa. Also, she's a member of Grace Life Church, where she volunteers in the nursery and Vacation Bible School at Grace Life Baptist Church. And of course, she's on the A honor roll. And one other, she is our girls Heisman representative. I was, excuse me, when asking some of her teachers to describe Braylon, they said, Braylon is a phenomenal student who excels both on the field, the court, and the classroom. She has one of the friendliest personalities and is always willing to help others, which is one of the qualities that makes her a fantastic leader. It is impossible to not have a smile on your face when interacting with Braylon. The energy she gives off is infectious. She is an exceptional young woman with an outstanding moral character. She is one of the most determined students I have ever taught, full of thought and introspection. And she tackles any assignment in any discipline with the nature of a true college scholar. I foresee that her imagination, her inquisitiveness, her insight, her caring nature, and her introspection will propel her towards greater success. After graduation from CHS, Braylon plans on attending Virginia Tech to pursue a triple major in criminology, sociology, and psychology, with aspirations of becoming a forensic psychologist. I present to you Braylon Wilburn.
Which one do I have first?
Good evening, Dr. Bregan, members of the board. Tonight, I would like to recognize as Senior of the Month for January, and that would be Lily Underwood, sorry. At this time, I'd like to ask her and her mother to join me in the front. Here's what one of Lily's teachers and her football coach had to say about her. Lily is the perfect example of what it means to be a student athlete. She is completely comfortable being the leader of a classroom, whether it be leading a discussion or organizing a group assignment. She has a passion to be successful within the classroom. When it comes to athletics, she leads by example, rarely saying a word or raising her voice. However, when the game is on the line, her teammates look to her for guidance and confidence. She has been a pleasure to have as a student and as an athlete. She is a true representative of an Eastern Montgomery student and athlete. She plans to attend a four-year university and study general engineering and specialize in civil engineering. Congratulations. I'd also like to recognize our Senior of the Month for February, Zachary Craighead. If his family and he would join us and meet at the front. Here's a quote from his guidance counselor, Kathy Clacta. Zach Craighead is one of the most motivated students I have had the pleasure of working with. In 10th grade, he decided to apply for the Southwest Virginia Governor's School because he craved academic challenges and wanted the academic rigor that would prepare him for college. He has thoroughly enjoyed the experience and has earned achievements along the way, including first and third place in local and regional science fair competitions. Zach is the student that many teachers go to for assistance with technology, whether that be help with robotics, a Prezi presentation, or general tricks with computer settings. He is always willing to help. Zach plans to attend Virginia Tech in the fall to study engineering. He has researched the classes needed to take in college so that he can potentially double major in electrical and aerospace engineering. Additionally, Zach has been very involved with his church from a young age and has enjoyed giving back to his community. Congratulations.
All right. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda, I'll ask Ms. Amanda Widener to come up and help with the awards for Support Staff Employee of the Year.
Good evening, Chair Trabaka, members of the board, and Dr. Bragan. It's a pleasure for me to be here tonight to present our Support Staff Employees of the Year. Montgomery County is grateful for the work and contributions of our support staff employees, our administrative assistants, school nurses, custodians, aides, workers in facilities, technology staff, bus drivers, and school nutrition employees all play an important and valuable role in the ability of our school division to serve the needs and best interests of our students. As a school division, we could not function without the work these employees provide. And in an effort to acknowledge the important contributions of these employees, Montgomery County recognizes exemplary support staff employees each year. And we select one employee as the Support Staff Employee of the Year who represents the entire school division. Candidates for this award are employees who consistently demonstrate leadership qualities when fulfilling their responsibilities. They promote cooperative relationships with students, colleagues, and the community. And they contribute to the school division in an exceptional manner. This year, 21 support staff employees were nominated by a school principal or director. I am pleased to announce and recognize our Support Staff Employees of the Year at this time. Joining me is Danny Knott, our Director of Human Resources, who is a member of the Christiansburg-Blacksburg Rotary Club. On behalf of the Rotary Club, Mr. Knott will present a $1,000 check to our School Division Employee of the Year. Many of our support staff employees are able to be here tonight, although some could not make it because of family obligations or personal illness. For our employees who are here tonight, when I call your name, please come forward to accept your certificate and a small gift of appreciation. If you have a guest with you who would like to take your picture, they can also step forward. I'd like to begin with our representative for Falling Branch Elementary School. It's Carrie Bradshaw, who serves as an administrative assistant there. Unfortunately, I don't believe Carrie could be here tonight. Representing Christiansburg Elementary School is Suzanne Dunn, who serves as a clerical aide. And I do believe Suzanne is here tonight. Representing Bellevue Elementary School is Samantha Evans, who serves as an administrative assistant. Unfortunately, I don't think Samantha could make it tonight. Representing Auburn Elementary School is Brandy Fleener, who serves as a special aid ed, and I don't think Brandy was able to be here tonight. Representing Auburn High School is Lisa Glover, who serves as an instructional aide, and Lisa is here tonight. Representing Gilbert Lincoln Elementary School is Joan Green, who serves as the cafeteria manager. Representing Blacksburg Middle School is Ginny Hilton, who serves as the school nurse. Ginny was unable to be here tonight. Representing Kipps Elementary School is Sarah Jadid, who serves as a special ed aide. She was not able to be here tonight. Representing Shawsville Middle School is Amanda Jones, who serves as a custodian, and Amanda is here tonight. Representing the central office is Renee Manning, who serves as an administrative assistant. Unfortunately, Renee could not be here tonight. Representing the operations center is Lawrence Eddie Miller, who serves as a technology technician, and I believe Eddie is here tonight. Representing Harding Avenue Elementary School is Kim Moyer, who serves as the school nurse, and I believe Kim is here tonight. Representing Christiansburg High School is Kimberly Peoples, who serves as administrative assistant. I don't believe Kimberly was able to make it tonight. Representing Eastern Montgomery Elementary School is David Bo Pierce, who serves as the head custodian. Unfortunately, David was not able to make it tonight. Representing Christiansburg Middle School is Michael Sarver, who serves as the senior custodian, and Michael is here tonight. Representing Auburn Middle School is Kayla Scott, who serves as a special ed aide. I do not believe Kayla was able to make it tonight. Representing Christiansburg Primary School is Tyndall Snyder, who serves as a literacy aide. Tyndall was also not able to make it tonight. Representing Eastern Montgomery High School is Michael Spencer, who serves as the lead custodian, and Michael is here tonight. Representing Blacksburg High School is Doug Thornton, who serves as a custodian. Doug was unable to make it tonight. And representing Price's Fork Elementary School is Carla Vaden, who serves as an administrative assistant, and Carla was unable to make it tonight. It is now my honor to announce the MCPS Support Staff Employee of the Year. Donna Thomas is a cafeteria manager at Margaret Beeks Elementary School. She began working for Montgomery County in 1992 and has worked in the school division for 25 years. She's been a cafeteria manager for 18 of those years. Ms. Thomas is appreciated for her ability to expertly manage the cafeteria at Margaret Beeks and always ensure that students and staff have access to healthy meals. Dr. Beth Poff, the principal at Margaret Beeks, noted that Ms. Thomas consistently has a positive attitude and displays a warm, nurturing disposition. Ms. Quisenberry, the assistant principal, pointed out that Ms. Thomas takes to heart the educational mantra of students first, always thinking about the students and how best to support them. She added that Donna is a true team player. Whenever she is approached about a problem or a change, she is always willing to work to find a solution that will accommodate everyone. She has a "we can make that work" attitude. Another employee noted that Ms. Thomas always has a warm welcome to students, and she knows every child's name. Ms. Thomas is a team player whose positive attitude and demeanor make her school a better place. Congratulations to Donna Thomas. We're thankful for her dedication to our school division and congratulate her as the MCPS Support Staff Employee of the Year. At this time, I'd like to ask Donna to come forward to be recognized and so that Mr. Knott can present a check to her. Congratulations to all our support staff employees.
Thank you, Ms. Widener, and congratulations to everyone. Next, we have Mr. Husband come up to help give out Athletic State Champions Awards.
Good evening, board members. Dr. Bragan. Thank you for the opportunity to recognize some of our VHSL athletic state champions from the 2020-21 and 21-22 school years. As a reminder for our audience, during these 2 years, we were unable to welcome our students in person due to COVID restrictions, and so we would like to make sure that we recognize them this year. In January, we recognized the Auburn High School and Eastern Montgomery High School VHSL state champions. Tonight, help us recognize more state champions, Mr. Adam Simpson, principal of Blacksburg High School, and Mr. Gene Jones, principal of Christiansburg High School.
Good evening again, Dr. Bragan, school board members. It's my honor to represent and acknowledge state champs from the past 2 school years from BHS, starting with the 2021 school year, which, as we all remember, was a difficult year for everybody, but athletics, shortened seasons, modified practices, kids kind of getting back to normal. So, and you'll see that in some of the photos. So starting with the boys tennis team, who won a state championship in the spring of that season. And we also had, that was the team state championship. We also had an individual state champ for tennis, Samuel Shang. And we had the boys swim and dive team, won the state championship as a team, and also had some individual state champs on that team, Eli Babcock for diving. You had the team medley team of Patrick Riley, Nick Philo, Lewis Rockwell, and Zach Sudweeks for the 200 medley relay, and David Roethlisberger. He won in last school year, the 21-22 school year. So those are individuals for boys swim and dive. And then we have the girls swim and dive. So boys and girls both won state championships this year. And if you can look hard, you can see Laura in that picture somewhere, hard with the mask on. Our senior of the month is in there. And then we also had some individual or group champions, Andrea Lang, Lexi Nussbaum, Julie Anderson, and Nora Guillot. Probably pronounced that wrong, apologize. And then we have Andriana Lang, Julie Anderson, Madeline Coombs, and Nora again on the 400 medley relay. And Andrea Lang, so she won 3 individual state champions as well as the team state championship. So very impressive. And also, so that school year, the 2021 school year, Blacksburg High School won the Wells Fargo Cup, which was the highest performing across all sports in the state of Virginia in our classification. So that was that school year. Ms. Woodsetzer would point out that she was the principal at that time. I would hear about that if I didn't note. So going to last school year, the 21-22 season, our golf team won the state championship, and then last board meeting, we recognized the state championship from this year, so that makes them back-to-back champs. The previous school year, they lost by 1 stroke, so 1 stroke away from being 3-time champs. Girls tennis We had a doubles team of Kirsten Woods and Rhea Freeborn. And we had an individual state champ, Connor Rutherford, for the 1,600 meters. And Connor also won the Gatorade Athlete of the Year for Virginia for men's cross country recently. And also for track and field, we had Audrey Link win the 1,000 meter. We had Mia Littlejohn, Sophia Kruskis, Kylan Socha, and Grace Reynolds won the 4x200 meter relay. And in the boys 4x400 meter relay, Ben Hager, Elliott Howard, Oscar Coddington, and Vance Ruiz. More track and field, Ben Hager, Elliott Howard, Oscar Coddington, and Vance Ruiz, the same team, won the 4x200 and the 4x800. Well, sorry, 4x800 also had Zach Bobo and Ben Schmidt involved. And so those are our state champs. The 21-22 school year, we finished second place in the Wells Fargo Cup. So just excellent performances by our programs across the board, and we look forward to seeing them compete this year and in the future.
Good evening once again, board chair, board members, and Dr. Bragan. We are pleased to recognize the 2021 and 21-22 Christiansburg High School Blue Demon State Champions. And we are thankful to the board for allowing us to take a minute to honor these student athletes. Our 2021 Class 3 state champions were members of our wrestling team. Aiden Lacoma won his first individual state championship at the 285-pound weight class. Brian Taylor also won his first individual state title that same year in the 220-pound weight class. In 2021-22, we had Class 3 state champions in 2 sports. Maddie Moles won an individual state championship in the pole vault during the indoor season with a vault of 11 feet 3 inches. She also won another state title that spring during the outdoor season with a vault of 11 feet. Luke Roby won his first individual state championship with a victory in the 152-pound weight class. Parker Farrell won his first individual state wrestling title, competing in the 220-pound weight class. And finally, Aiden Lacoma won his second straight individual wrestling title championship in the 285 weight class. Once again, we'd like to congratulate these fine young student athletes as they competed through very tough circumstances, but they persevered as true Blue Demons do. So once again, thank you.
All right, thanks, everybody. We're going to do, normally we've been taking like a 5 or 10 minute break, I think just to let everybody who doesn't want to stick around to the rest of the meeting leave gracefully. But one thing we miss is being able to greet those of you who have been honored tonight with awards and other honors, and we'd like to try to see if we can start that up again tonight. So as you feel comfortable and as board members feel comfortable, we're going to work our way out in the hallway and come in through that side door and filter into the front here. And if you feel comfortable, please come up to the front. We'd love to greet you in person and congratulate you on your award. So we'll take about a 10 or so minute break. Thank you. Oh, there's Linwood. There's Dana. All right. All right, we'll continue with our meeting. Next agenda item is public address. We welcome the opportunity to hear from students, parents, employees, and community members about education matters in the community. As a reminder, the board sets aside 30 minutes to start our public address. We have the option to extend in 30-minute increments, which Ms. Woods will remind us of. If there are additional speakers after 90 minutes, the board will continue with their business meeting and hold one additional 30-minute session at the end of the business meeting. The clock continues through applause and disruptions. The more disruptions there are, the fewer speakers who get to address the board. I'll call each speaker up by name in the order they are signed up. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. The board doesn't respond to speakers during public address, and the screen will show when the speaker has 30 seconds remaining and when time is up. Please state your name and the area of the county that you live in. The first speakers are Chris Obenchain and Chris Thomas. So if Chris is here.
Good evening, members of the board. Superintendent Bragan. My name is Chris Obenchain. I'm a parent from Blacksburg, and I want to speak tonight in support of our school resource officers and also a few comments about school safety for the board. First of all, I want to thank Superintendent and the board members for the school safety survey that you sent out. I would certainly encourage every parent who hasn't had an opportunity to fill that out to return that so that your voices can be heard on school safety issues. I also want to join the board in saying thank you to our school resource officers, to those dedicated officers that serve in our schools. As Deputy Parks' example shows, these individuals are more than just law enforcement officers. They really help to keep our students safe in so many different ways, and I am certainly very grateful for the job that they do. As a parent, the one concern I have is that we do have 8 schools here in Montgomery County that do not have full-time dedicated school resource officers. And so as a parent, I would like to see us have school resource officers in each and every school. And I think although those are elementary schools, I think recent events have shown us that there is a need for school resource officers even at the elementary school level, and I would like to see that be addressed. In addition to having school resource officers in the schools, we also have to make sure that our policies allow school resource officers to do their jobs. And what that means is that law enforcement decisions should be made by trained law enforcement officers, not by teachers or staff. For example, if a threat is made against a student, who should be determining whether that is a credible threat? I would say that it's law enforcement officers who are trained in those type of matters who are best positioned to make that type of law enforcement decision, not to put that decision on teachers or staff. In addition to school resource officers, I think there are a few other matters that I would recommend the board address. First of all, would be addressing reporting of incidents among the schools to make sure that it is consistent across the board. I think you would find that some schools and some areas are better at reporting these incidents than others are. I would like to see more consistent reporting. I would also like to see the schools focus not just on safety within the school buildings themselves, but also discipline and safety on buses to and from schools. Our school bus drivers need to be focused on doing their job, which is getting students to and from school safely. They shouldn't have to divide their attention and try to be disciplinarians at the same time. So I would encourage the board to look at opportunities to work with parent-teacher organizations or others.
Mr. Obenchain, I'm sorry, your time.
To improve safety. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chris Thomas, and after Mr. Thomas is Kylie Smith.
Chris Thomas, Christiansburg, Virginia. Members of the board, I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but as of January 6th, the teachers at MCPS have been told to remove access to their classroom libraries. The only exceptions are for books which they have personally read, and only if the teachers vouch for the absence of any sexually explicit material in them. This is one of those policies that sounds reasonable on paper, but becomes absurd when you think it through. We're not just talking about striking the boogeymen of literature like Lady Chatterley's Lover or Ulysses or Madame Bovary, but literally any book which contains any mention of sexual excitement. And let's consider for a moment what materials will be removed from our classrooms under this policy and are being removed. The Canterbury Tales by Chaucer, because we all know the lustful thoughts and animalistic urges that 14th century Middle English poetry elicits in the modern teenager. Candide by Voltaire, which is even more pernicious because satire and French, I guess. Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe, possibly the single most important work of fiction in U.S. history, but why allow our students access to it if that means they'll have to acknowledge the existence of sex or the sexual exploitation of enslaved peoples? How about The Scarlet Letter, Catcher in the Rye, Beloved, As I Lay Dying, The Lord of the Flies, I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings, all of them banned at some point in the United States for their sexual content and disallowed in our classroom libraries. You can almost hear the AP scores dropping, can't you? But we're just getting started. There's sexual content in Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. It's in works of science fiction like Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five, in horror stories like Bram Stoker's Dracula, even ancient classics like Ovid's Ars Amatoria, and, as I pointed out last month here, the Bible. Members of the board, I'm asking you to see this as a fool's errand. If the board wants to stand for parental choice, then by all means allow parents to opt their kids out of access to classroom libraries and any other unofficial resource, but make it opt out. As a parent, that choice is my responsibility, not yours. Your responsibility is to your teachers, your employees. Trust them to do the job you hired them to do. Trust their judgment. And don't hide behind impossible standards or uncompensated labor by forcing educators to personally read and certify the contents of every book in every classroom. This path is doomed to fail. And if you insist on indulging this paranoid fantasy that soul-corrupting debauchery lurks in the margins of children's literature, and demand that our teachers assume the liability for perfectly ordinary books in their classrooms, we will soon have neither books nor teachers left in those classrooms. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. And last we have Kylie Smith.
Good evening. My name is Kylie Smith. I live in Reiner. I'm here tonight regarding the sexual assault policy. I want to be sure that this school board approves a policy that will thoroughly protect victims in our schools. I attended Auburn High School, but now I am homeschooled. I was raped by a teacher's son who attended my school. No girl should ever have to experience this, but what came after was almost just as bad. The assistant principal treated me like a criminal. I was bullied by my rapist's friends, and I was humiliated on Snapchat. I am thankful that you are developing a policy. It will help many students in Montgomery County schools. However, I am left wondering why it has taken this long. There has been a long history of sexual assaults in MCPS for many years. I can't believe how much time it took this board to address this issue after both of my parents spoke multiple times at these meetings, and when my mom reached out by email, she was ignored. Worst of all, in my opinion, is that my rapist remains in school along with all of his friends who bullied me and the administration that treated me so horribly. I ask the school system to start putting our students first. What if this had been your daughter? Let that sink in. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. All right, seeing no one else signed up, the next item of business is payment of the bills. Do I have a motion to approve the payment of bills as presented?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Ms. Woods, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Bond? Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Ms. Graham? Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Mr. Chewbacca?
Yes.
6 in favor.
Motion carries. Let's see. Next item is wing donation and BHS drones update. So we have a presentation on this, and looks like
I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Husband
Mr.
is...
Chewbacca, as Mr. Husband gets ready to come up, I believe the next item is the report from the superintendent.
Oh, it is. I'm sorry.
No worries. Thanks, Board Chair Chewbacca.
Well, now Mr. Husband's in position and ready.
He's always ready. Just a few things I wanted to go over. We have some receptions scheduled at our newly renovated Christiansburg Elementary Schools that'll be held this month. The first one is at Christiansburg Primary School, and they will host their renovation reception to highlight all the things and the changes that have taken place tomorrow evening at 5:30 p.m. All are encouraged to attend, and I can't wait to see everybody there. Christiansburg Elementary School will host their renovation reception on Thursday, starting at 6 p.m., and Bellevue Elementary School will host their renovation reception on February 23rd at 6 o'clock p.m. I also want to report on our spelling bee winners. We had 9 students participated in the district-wide spelling bee. The division champion is an 8th grader from Blacksburg Middle School, Eli Simundsda, and the alternative or runner-up is a 5th grade student from Kipps Elementary School, Noah Wilson. The winning word was moxie. Reminds me of many of the board members. Anyway, I mean that in an affectionate and loving way, of course. I want to talk about our AMPS graduation for those that aren't aware of the program. And before I begin, I just want to give credit and kudos to Dr. Whitaker, who was instrumental in putting that program together. We just graduated our first cohort of the Montgomery County Public Schools Alternative Model for Professional Studies, AMPS program, which is approved by the Virginia Department of Education since 2019. The AMPS program provides sustained, high-quality training and support designed to help provisionally licensed teachers navigate the challenges of being new teachers and earning full teaching licensure. Teachers who successfully complete the program, the 30-month program, meet the VDOE professional studies requirements to obtain a full license without the burden of needing to complete up to 6 college-level educational methods courses during their first 3 years in the classroom. We are very proud of our first AMPS graduates, Adriana Phillips in Health and Medical Sciences at Christiansburg High School, Adrian Smith, Health and Medical Sciences at Auburn High School and Eastmont High School, and Kelly Woodyard, American Sign Language at Christiansburg High School. We plan to recognize these candidates formally at the March 7th Board of Education meeting. And one last thing I'd like to mention regarding Eastern Montgomery High School. Some concerns were raised to me about their athletic track. I actually took a walk on the track today. I want to say that I would be able to run it and do the 50-yard, but I'm too old for that. But anyway, as I looked at the track and kind of surveyed what I've heard over the last couple of weeks, it's really in poor condition. And some people have expressed concerns about getting it at the top of our priority list to get renovated. And I would concur with that. And we're going to do all we can to move that forward. Look at our finances and how we can do that, because it is, I'm a former track coach, and it's time. So that's all I have, Board Chair Chewbacca.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bragan. Now we will move on to the wing donation and BHS drone update.
Good evening again. Thank you all for the opportunity to update you on our drones curriculum across Montgomery County Public Schools. This program is a great example of a program being built in one community within MCPS and growing into a curriculum opportunity for all students across MCPS. I've got a timeline here that I'll hit some of the highlights for, but I really hope that you'll have an opportunity to look through all of the progress that we've made within this curriculum. This program came from student interest originally at Blacksburg High School. It also came from a need within the local economy, a partnership with a local business. It teaches a marketable credential and creates a pathway to a career or higher education opportunity. Back in 2016-17 is really where formally the program started, but even before then, there were interest from students at Blacksburg High School in flying drones in a photography class. The class was originally a local elective, as we tried to be at the forefront of drones and the curriculum here in Montgomery County Public Schools. So we set off, not wanting to wait for the Virginia Department of Education, to create our own course. Ms. Veronica Spradlin, technology education and drafting teacher at Blacksburg High School, was the leader in creating this new course. Draw your attention to 2019-2020 school year when Wing, the local company that has been delivering via drone for the last few years, donated $4,000 to Montgomery County Public Schools, went $1,000 to each of our 4 high schools to buy equipment to start up various drones clubs and curriculum across the county. I'd also draw your attention in 2020 and 2021, Mrs. Spradlin, 4 years after originally proposing the course, then served on a Virginia Department of Education curriculum committee to create a statewide course. At this point, our course had already spread to Christiansburg High School, and we are now writing the course for the entire state. The drones team at Blacksburg High School has the opportunity to travel and compete in what is called the, let me make sure I get the name right, the Bell Vertical Robotics Challenge. Okay. This has been a great opportunity for our students. They're going to talk more about it when they come up to present. But Wing has also been instrumental in donating funds for those students to be able to compete. We've been to Texas, I believe it's 3 times now, also been to Maryland. As you all are well aware, those are expensive trips for students, and we greatly appreciate Wing's ability to help us with those expenses to compete. In the 22-23 school year, Introduction to Drones is now at Auburn High School. Blacksburg High School continues to travel, and we are working on a team at Christiansburg High School as they develop their curriculum. There are currently 2 full classes at Christiansburg High School in the drones curriculum, and Eastern Montgomery High School also has a drones club as they build interest and hopefully having a drones curriculum within the school day soon. And then this year, Wing also donated $10,000, $4,000 for an entry fee to the competition, and $6,000 for travel expenses. The MCPS and Wing partnership goes all the way back to pre-pandemic in fall of 2019 when Wing opened their nest behind Lowe's in Christiansburg. That's the picture on the far left there is Mrs. Spradlin being on TV for the very first drone delivery. There were 3 houses that were originally delivered to simultaneously, and we were lucky enough in MCPS that one of the houses was Mr. Culver, who teaches at Blacksburg High School, and Miss Kelly Pasick, who's the librarian at Blacksburg Middle School, that they were one of the very first deliveries in North America. Prior to that delivery date, Wing had set up in, I believe it was 1 country in Europe and Australia, but this was the first North American delivery. And we've also been able to partner with high school and middle school students attending field trips at the Wing facility. We were even able to restart those field trips this past fall, post-pandemic. At this time, I would like to ask Ms. Veronica Spradlin from Blacksburg High School to come forward, and also from Wing, Mr. Rob Jones and Mr. Christopher Stewart. We've prepared a plaque of appreciation for the representatives from Wing, and we want to say thank you.
And Mr. Husband doesn't know this, but this is a plaque from Montgomery County Public Schools for all of your support as well, for you to hang in your office. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
I mentioned in our opening that a big part of this course is teaching a marketable credential. And when Ms. Spradlin created this course, she zeroed in very quickly working with New River Community College on the Part 107 certification. She's going to talk more about that certification now.
So yeah, I'll keep this quick, but essentially the Part 107 is a newish certification because this is all a brand new industry. And when I first got into this over 5 years ago, there was no certification. Anyone could go get a drone and fly it and use it how they see fit. And since then, the regulations have gotten tighter because we have a lot of things in our airspace, and we want to make sure that it's safe for use. So we offer the Part 107, which is an industry certification so that students can make money off of flying drones. And it's for commercial operations, so they can charge for photography, real estate, really anything that they can see as a job niche for them to go out and make money using their drones and see that they aren't just toys, but that they have value in the industry. And having Wing here next door to show them a large scale and how the nation is moving forward with drone technologies has been great. We have been certifying students for the last 3 to 4 years and have a really high pass rate for the industry certification. Every student gets the recreational pilot's license, which is the trust certification, but our class offers setting for that Part 107. So thank you all for all of your support, and thank the rest of the times for our students.
Thank you for all your work.
Yeah.
Before I invite the students back up, I did skip a step. I wanted to give Mr. Rob Jones and Mr. Christopher Stewart from Wing just an opportunity that they had a short spiel that they'd like to share with the board. Sorry to make them come back up twice. My fault.
Rob Jones, a consultant to Wing doing community engagement. Just want to thank you all for your leadership in this, and that we really value the relationship with the school systems. And these are great students who are doing some great stuff, and we're really proud of them as well. So thank you.
Thank you for all the
Thank you for your support. Yeah.
Up next to explain all of the fun technical aspects of it are our students that traveled from Blacksburg High School, the drones team.
Hello. So we are Stratus Team 20, or the Blacksburg High School drone team. My name is Jackson Lawrence. I'm the team captain.
I'm Matthew Sicardi. I was in charge of programmation.
I'm Grady
Can I have you guys come up one at a time and speak into the mic, because people on the live feed won't be able to hear you otherwise?
I'm Matthew Sicardi. I was in charge of teleprogrammation.
I'm Grady Spradlin. I was a Sphero driver.
I'm Jack Rhodes. I was a Sphero driver and in charge of documentation.
I'm Abby LaFawn. I was our co-captain as well as handling most of our design processes.
And I'm Anna Lee. I worked overall programming.
So our team was first created to compete in what used to be the Bell VRC competition, or the Vertical Robotics Competition, but is now known as the Bell Advanced Vertical Robotics Competition. So the Bell Advanced Vertical Robotics Competition, the season started in August of 2022, where we had 3 months to build, design, program, and practice for the semifinals in November, where we drove out to Maryland. At the semifinals, we placed second and then advanced to nationals in Dallas, Texas, where we won 6th place out of 71 teams in the nation.
Nice.
So this year's event was centered around fire and rescue, and it started, the game map was a valley of sorts with several different buildings, including one we started on, and certain ones would randomly catch fire, and we had to use several different game vehicles to put out those fires, one of which was our main drone, which we have a somewhat stripped down version of out in the hall if you guys have seen it, it would fight fires by dropping water droplets, which were represented by small blue balls, on top of the fires, as well as using what was called a laser water cannon, which was just a laser that would hit hotspot targets. We were also able to use a Tello, which I'll let Matthew talk more about its role.
The Tello is a smaller drone that is pre-programmed to follow certain paths and detect certain targets it has to go through. And it can know which buildings would catch fire next, which helps us stop those fires.
The Spheros were acting as firemen, leaving the fire station to go onto one of the ground rovers to go up to the top of the valley and knock over trees and return back to the fire station once our job was finished.
And as he mentioned, the ground vehicle overall's role was to drive from the fire station carrying the firefighters up to the top to help knock down trees to stop fire spread paths. And you can see we have a bit of a diagram of what the game is. It's a bit hard to see, sorry. But it shows basically during one of the phases, one side of the match would light on fire, and that side would be the side the drone would go onto, the main drone, while on the other side, the tele drone and ground vehicles would operate to help stop fire spread paths and clear them out of the way. After that phase was cleared, phase 2 would be the other side lighting on fire, the drone would go clear that, and then phase 3 would be everything lighting on fire, and the drone would have to scramble around and put out as much fire as it could. Yeah.
So one of the biggest challenges in this competition is time and leadership. So leadership is a very important factor in combating this. So for example, we have a team captain, we have a co-captain, and also specialized groups for the course. We built our own mock course. We also had a team for ground robotics, aerial robotics, programming, and manufacturing.
So as with any team, we have many diverse systems. One of those is our design, which I took the lead on this year. And so as you can see on the screen, we have multiple designs for each of the different vehicles. For the main drone vehicle, we had to design a water carrying system that was able to reload in these water pits. And that was a difficult challenge as we had to work around settling on top of the balls that were at varying stages, at varying levels during the competitions as we went throughout. We also had to design cohesive designs for the ground rover that would all fit together and work as puzzle pieces so that the spheros wouldn't fall off as it was driving up to the top of the hill. We also used lots of design in our building our course and that kind of thing.
So I worked along with Matthew and several others on the programming aspect. Lots of things had the ability to be automated for extra points, one of which in particular was the drone's water drop. So basically, we worked to code a scanning feature. So it scans an April tag, which is very similar to a QR code. And when it scans that code, it signals to the drone to open up the dropping mechanism and drop water droplets into the buildings to put out the fire. We also worked to code, as Matthew mentioned, the Tello for autonomous recon, and the ground vehicles code was automated to make it up on its own, all the way up to the top of the match to drop off the spheres on its own and then return home on its own. And then Matthew?
I worked also on manufacturing of the course, which involved learning techniques that are used in the industry to, most notably in carpentry, to build the frame of the course, which built wood, and also learning how to properly use the power tools that are also used in the industry. All of these skills that we learn are things that we'll be able to reuse later in life.
Part of Bell's version of making this simulated professional situation is documentation. In any professional engineering situation, you're going to have to document all of the iterations of your design process, as well as documenting what you accomplished that day. Part of our documentation process was having a daily log of what we accomplished that day or in that week, as well as having an engineering notebook, which simulated what you would have in a normal engineering professional situation, which is definitely a great experience going forward, as many of us are graduating seniors or going into an internship in a couple of years. So this was a great skill to have. Part of our teamwork and part of our team structure is being able to work cohesively together to just get the tasks done, because this is a very challenging competition as it involves a lot of new systems. And so large part of that is communication and just getting things to mesh very well and just having that stretch across the team to really bring everything in.
So another one of our big considerations was posterity this year. Currently, we have 8 seniors on the 14-person team. So passing down knowledge and experience is very important. We also would like to open the team to all of Montgomery County very soon. Does anyone have any questions?
Wow. Wow. As a computer scientist, which Mr. Chewbacca and I are, and are you also? Okay, 3 of us. Wow. If we'd had this opportunity in high school, I can't even imagine where we'd be now. Probably still here. In Blacksburg, that is. You guys are amazing. You truly are. I'm incredibly impressed.
Thank you.
How much of your time is spent, building the course and you had some of those pictures where you're very hands-on versus doing the design work, doing the programming, doing the documentation? What would you say that split is?
The split is honestly pretty even.
Okay.
The course did take a very long time, as did the design, but it was mostly a 50-50 split.
Okay.
So as far as your preservation, how many other students have you been able to recruit to be able to fill your spots? 'Cause
So-
it seems like some big shoes.
Yeah. So currently, right now, we're in the middle of, I guess, it's a period where the competition doesn't go on. So we have until next year, about August, to recruit the amount of people that we need. Currently, we can only take 14 people. And I guess, our plan is to go around to different classes. So we need a certain amount of people who are good with computer science. We also need people who are good at CADing and making designs. So we really just need to go around to those classes and recruit people from there.
So how are you going to be able to do that? Do you need help from Mr. Husband? Who to be able to guide you to those classes and give you the time to do it?
Right now, Ms. Spradlin has been a great tool for us to get around to all these classes. We will be going around to the classes and giving presentations and then also handing out forms.
Okay, great.
If anyone doesn't have anything else, we would like to invite everyone here. Once the school board meeting is over, we have our demo outside. If you would like to come and try and fly the drone, you are welcome to come and do so.
Brave soul.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I love that we're taking something that's entrepreneurial and on some level, and we're applying that same entrepreneurial spirit to across the county, meaning that we're starting in one school, building it there, but then using that to leverage the growth into other areas. It's definitely a great example of rising tide lifting all boats type of thing. So,
Yeah.
and nice to see the students learning soft skills like teamwork, which I can certainly attest from my job is as important as some of the hard skills too. So, good job, everyone. And yeah, sorry, go ahead.
And the partnership with Wing.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's just amazing. So appreciative, and I hope other people will take notice because that's just the financial piece, not to mention just letting folks, I'm sure, use your facility. That's just amazing. It's just so appreciated. Thank you.
All right, thanks, everyone. Next on the agenda, we have the Gifted Advisory Committee. The GAC has brought forward proposed changes to their bylaws. This is just for first reading, I believe. The changes will be brought back at the February 21st meeting for approval. Board, does anybody have any questions on that? All right. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Right. That required the annual evaluation of the bylaws. Kind of removing that, because if we don't need to do it, then we don't need to do it annually. So I appreciate that piece.
Anyone else, board members? All right. Next item on the agenda is staffing update.
So as you can see, this first slide has shrunk a little bit. There are fewer jobs vacant on this. This is our certified slide. So we have been filling positions as quickly as possible. We have a few here that we're currently accepting applications for. Director of Elementary education, gifted, reading specialists, we still need 3 of those, and then special education teachers, we need really 2, but we've got 1 split there, or 2 split between 2 different schools. So it has definitely gotten better with our certified staff here recently. These next positions are our classified employees, and these are actually shrinking as well. The total number of vacant positions. We do need a bookkeeper at Harding. We need 1 bus driver at a 6.5-hour position. We need 2 bus aides, 2 instructional aides, 3 recess aides, a .45 lunch aide, so that is just during the lunch time. That's why it's a 4.5 position, 0.45 position, excuse me. And then special education aides, we do need 8 of those currently right now. In more of our facility area and then also school nurse, we've got a carpenter position, 2 HVAC technicians. We do have 1 in workflow. We do have 10.5 custodians. We need 1 school nurse at Shawsville Middle School and a vehicle mechanic in transportation. We are planning a classified job fair later this month, so hopefully we can get some of these classified positions filled. And I also just want to share with you, this past Saturday, we had our interview day here in Montgomery County. We had 125 individuals sign up for interviews with us on Saturday. We had a few cancellations. We had a few walk-ins. We ended up interviewing 117 candidates. We hired 2 on the spot, and we have about 10 or 12 that look really good, and our principals are working to fill those vacant positions that they have for next school year and looking at those candidates. I want to thank our principals who came Saturday that helped us. They were instrumental in making that day be able to happen. I also want to thank the community group. They provided gift bags that we gave to all the individuals that came that day and interviewed with us. We were able to give them a bag, and so it was just a really, really good day for us this past Saturday.
Well, I'm glad things went well. So, custodians, 10.5 positions. So what is our starting pay for our custodians?
It's $13 an hour.
$13 an hour, right. And for our, is it spec ed? Yeah, spec ed aides.
It is, if I'm not mistaken now, it's $12.16 an hour for our spec ed aides.
Okay, so.
I'm sorry, 15, excuse me, I'm sorry. That was 15, my mistake.
Okay. So even with $15, that's not a living wage. So I think with our budget, and I've been saying this, we have got to look at what we're paying our support staff, because they catch the brunt of a lot of things that go on. Several years ago, one of our spec aides came and spoke to us about the day-to-day things that they encountered to help support our students and our teachers, and we've got to do better. And our custodians, I so appreciate the 4 full-time that are allotted for the budget, but if we're not paying folks, especially with cleaning the buildings, and I still will argue that the formula that's used to allot the time for buildings to be cleaned is not enough time. We have got to do something to help recruit these people.
So in our strategic plan, part of what we are doing this year is a salary study, and we are making recommendations for the budget for next year. And one of the things from a custodial standpoint that we've included is increasing the number of custodians needed per square foot, especially for our new buildings that for our building renovations that have grown, adding where we need to add to help ensure that those buildings are being cleaned properly. As I've said before, some of our classified positions, probably due to pay, but due to other things as well, it's somewhat of a revolving door. People come, they work, and they're looking for something. They seem to be looking for something better all the time. And so Hopefully, we can get a salary in this budget that will help us maintain those people and keep them here.
Okay, because I'm just going to tell you, these are some of the things that I'm going to be looking at with this budget for this year. And I don't know how I'm going to be able to support if we're not going to be paying people to be able to stay with Montgomery County. We have a lot of dedicated people who have put up with us for many, many years. It's time that we start doing things the right way. And that's not just for these categories here. The carpenter, that's been up there for a long time. So, yeah, we've got to do something different.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
I'd
you.
like to concur with what Penny said. Plus, I do think you're spot on when you said hiring more, because I know one custodian told me that's why he left for something else, was because it's just too big of a building for so few of custodians that they have, because it's cleaning is one thing, but the unforeseen things that happen in restrooms, the things being torn off the wall and all those kinds of things that have to be fixed on top of it, as you well know, then they don't get to the part that they're supposed to do in their everyday job. And he said, you're just spread way, way, way too thin, and you just can't do it. He said, so I'm leaving. And I think he went to another area in our county, which is good, but still, you're right.
And I also, again, want to appreciate our HR department for several years now, going above and beyond, being wherever they can be, creating more situations where we can welcome people in to be a part of Montgomery County. So I appreciate that hard work.
Thank you very much.
All right. And the next item on the agenda is the budget update. I believe we have a presentation and a discussion, and then I think we have action on approving a funding request.
Good evening. How are you doing? Good. Wonderful. So tonight we're going to talk with you about our budget, to provide you a reminder of an overview of what we brought forward at the last meeting. We also have for you today the S&P budget for next year. We're going to provide you an update on the VDOE error in the calc tool. And then, I'm so sorry, it's hard for me to see it over there. The impact of the VDOE error in the calc tool, an overview of the superintendent's statement of needs, and then the updated requests that we're bringing to you for today. So first you see the S&P proposed budget for last year. We have this at the top of the presentation because we did not bring it to you at the last meeting. As a reminder, our school nutrition program is a separate budget from the school operating budget, and so that's why we budget for that differently. As you are aware, we have a contract with the nutrition group who oversees our day-to-day operations, and then we have some employees who are still staffed in Montgomery County schools. The plan has always been to transition those employees over to T&G. So that's why you notice some changes between our employee pay there and personnel, and the difference between that and our purchase services, because the nutrition group is the purchase services, and so as the employee pay comes down, it moves over to those purchase services because they then hire those employees. This budget that you have in front of you includes corrections to existing placements, as well as a change to the starting pay for school nutrition employees. And it also includes an estimate. We don't know yet what the meal increase is going to be, so at this time, we really just have that described the error that was made and what their next steps would be. In the bottom section of that letter, you see a formula that they provided to us. That formula provided us a calculation through which we could estimate what that error was. Just to give you a little bit of a reminder on what the calc tool is. So the calc tool comes out a couple of times a year. We get it when the governor introduces their budget, and then once we have an approved budget, we'll get an updated document. That calc tool has so many numbers in the background, numbers that we cannot see. And so while there are certain components we can check, there are also hidden data tabs within their calculations pool. And so Ms. Miano and Mr. Evans are not able to go behind that calc tool and check the calculations because we don't have all of the formulas and the numbers that we would need to do that. So each year we take the calculation tool and that estimates for us how much money we will be getting. It's the standard across the state. Every school division uses the same tool and uses it in the same capacity that Montgomery County has. So that means everybody is impacted similarly. What you can see here on the left-hand side is that calculation and how we estimate that impacts our funding. So unfortunately, the error in the budget calc tool that was given to us by the Virginia Department of Education means that we're going to lose $511,000 in the current year that we are in. There is discussion of that being there is discussion at the state level of how they might be able to bridge that gap, but at this time we have gotten no formal word that, of what will be done. So we're operating today believing that we will have $500,000 less than what we believed that we would have. The impact for what we were told that we would have for next year, as you can see, is $1.26 million. Again, that's not money that we have approved in the budget. It's in the budget that you will see tonight, and you'll see the change in the requests that we're moving forward. But those are the 2 years and how that impacts what we are currently in, as well as what we were projected to receive for next year. So this is a reminder of the superintendent's statement of needs that we presented to you at the last board meeting. At that time, our additional county revenue that was requested was $4.84 million. These were the budget development goals that we talked to you about last meeting. The first was to continue to ensure that we have quality educational programs aligned with the strategic plan, to support our student athlete safety needs by hiring 4 full-time athletic trainers, support students' mental health needs as identified in the strategic plan by hiring 2 additional school counselors, mental health providers, increasing access to preschool by adding an additional classroom at Auburn Elementary, increasing pay for all employees utilizing the funding provided for SOQ positions in addition to a local match, to provide a 5% raise for all employees and up to 1% retention bonus, salary corrections for individual staff as identified in the salary study conducted by the Human Resources Department, implementation of a new placement process for administrative assistants, increasing our custodial staffing based upon the building size increases and hiring 4 full-time custodians, and then addressing the needs of our self-funded health insurance account. And then the last is increasing funding for supplies, services, and materials to address inflation. So what you have provided for you here is the information. The left-hand side is what was our request at the last meeting, which would have been the 4.84 additional funding from our Board of Supervisors. On the right-hand side, you see that updated number based upon the error in the VDOE calculation tool. So that's 6.1. So what we would recommend is that you move forward the funding request to the Board of Supervisors in the amount of 6.1 with the total budget as you see here. That's a lot of information. What questions do you have?
So when might we know, or do we have any idea if there will be any relief from the state for their shortfall?
Sure. Key, did you remember the dates that they gave?
Yeah, I think so.
So I believe crossover where the 2 committees switch budgets essentially will be happening on the February 9th. And then after they switch, shortly after that, the DOE release calc tools for each of their budgets. And then, February 25th, I think, is when they adjourn for the session, and hopefully they'll have their budget approved then. I'm pretty sure.
But it doesn't mean that there's going to be any adjustment there.
No. They just They both proposed a way to
They've both made proposals of how they would approach this concern. What exactly that means for Montgomery County, we do not yet know, and we don't really have enough information to give you we have enough information to tell you what we think we're going to be down, but we just don't know yet what those two different options that they have on the table would really mean for us. We did have a couple conference calls to try and get more information, but all the school divisions are really in the same place of we really just have to wait and figure out how they're going to approach that at the state level.
So far, they haven't taken any responsibility for it or offered any consolations as far as resolving it.
I would say
to help all school divisions out.
In terms of responsibility, I did hear yesterday on a call that we had that at that point, yes, I did hear responsibility from the Virginia Department of Education to say, yes, that was their error. That was the first time I had heard that, but we did hear that yesterday. In terms of how to resolve it, no. Until we're told where that money is going to come from, this was in relation to the hold harmless grocery tax is where the error was made on their calc tool. So, we just don't know yet what they're going to do. They are working, they are proposing solutions. We just don't know what that final decision will be.
And that would have to be made before they adjourn on the 25th of February?
I don't know that it would have to be made because at this
help
point,
school divisions, it would, right?
Really any time in this fiscal year is helpful,
Okay.
but the sooner the better.
Thank you.
Well, I would suspect since this is a short session for them, that they will be coming back to try to figure out where this is going to come from, which again puts the burden on localities to try to make that up when we're asking for less than what we really need, because nice budget, but it does not address the needs that we have. As I just spoke, staffing is a huge concern for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And where a few years ago, we thought we were getting ahead of the game with increase in compensation, everybody else is doing the exact same thing and more. So, I'm probably not going to support this budget because it is not what we need. It's what we can settle for to keep moving, and then we can't keep moving the way we're moving because we're going in a hole.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, is anyone else? So I had, sorry, Annie, I had a question.
Oh, you're fine.
On the school nutrition portion of this, I know that one always pays for itself, and I was looking at the numbers, trying to make sense of some of the metrics that we were given, I guess, over, pre-COVID anyway. It's kind of hard to make sense of that through the last few years.
Sure.
So, one of them was that, when we brought in the nutrition group, I think one of the goals was to increase participation, but then of course we had free lunches, and then now that's gone away. So where are we on that? As far as school nutrition goes, are we holding at numbers? Is there a trend that you want to report on that?
I don't want to give information off the top of my head that I don't have good numbers for you. So if you'd like us to come back and do a presentation, we can certainly do that. What I would say is this is really like the first year, because where we started, we didn't get necessarily all the way through. And so this has really been their first opportunity to really get out there and sell. And so also with our problems with procuring, right? They can't necessarily get all the food and the materials that they want to purchase and the recipes they want to make. So while we are doing well, it is not what we would expect to see in a regular business year. Our expectations moving forward, I think, would be greater on the income that we can see. We are working collaboratively with TNG, which is different. Previously, really, school nutrition staff and TNG staff were pretty much forced to stay apart They were not in the same rooms, they were not having the same conversations, they were not at the same table. And that did not make for very good business operations when you have two organizations working together. Chuck and Ginny have worked really well to be a team. We've created collaborative processes. So, it's hard for me to give you an indicator when really we're just at a starting place of what should be.
It's still going to be self-sustaining, though, I assume, with the estimated increases. So, okay. So those were, I guess, managerial decisions that were done before? Is that?
Yeah, I believe the person in my position previously did not bring those individuals together, and so they were very much not allowed to talk to each other and not in the same meetings, and that just doesn't work well when you have employees of two different organizations being in the same cafeteria, in the same kitchen.
I mean, that's unfortunate because it seems to me that, and correct me if I'm wrong, board members, but I feel like we were told that there wouldn't be a difference, that it would all be seamless and that people would work together.
Well, the kitchen, let me restate that. Thank you for that. What I mean by that is our management and the leaders in management at TNG. So within the kitchens, yes, our staffs were working together, but the individuals leading them were being led in different ways and not necessarily working collaboratively. There's a lot of rules with school nutrition, how we procure the things that we buy, how we get commodities through the government, and you really need to collaborate to buy the best materials and make the best menu. And when the people buying and the people making a menu aren't supposed to talk to each other, that makes it hard. So I think that they've come very far in this year. I also think because we're coming out of COVID and the pandemic, the expectations we can set for what type of, why is that word leaving my head? I'm sorry. My noun is leaving me that I want to have right there. Our profit, thank you. I think will be very different because now we can say this is the expectation that we have, and before we were just responding to COVID and then getting out of it.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
I'd like to add one
Yeah,
thing.
go
So there's been some talk about the VDOE error. I did want to mention that they have put out on social media, on Twitter, actually, the Appropriation Committee is already working on addressing this, and they have said that no cuts will be necessary. They just haven't agreed on how to fill the hole yet. But it does state, as promised under the House amendments package, no schools will see less funding due to the calculation error at the Department of Education. So I just wanted to make sure and let everybody know that it doesn't sound like there's going to be less money and that they are working on correcting that problem.
That's great, but the bottom line is they don't fund public education like they should to start off with.
Penny, no administration has funded public education like they should have,
I'm not
including
talking about-
this one, but
I'm
even
not
the
talking about
previous
any
ones.
administration. I'm talking about in general, across this country, public education has never been funded the way it should be
So
funded.
that's why I encourage people to talk to your legislatures and talk to your senators and your representatives in Richmond, and we try to get that problem fixed.
So if I'm understanding that right, you're saying, and I don't know that this is not directed at you personally, but I'm not sure that I believe that interpretation, because what you're saying is that all of a sudden we're not going to have this, what was it, $2.8 million shortfall? That they're going to
1.26.
1.2, that they're going to make up that 1.2 for us. I guess I'll believe it when it comes from.
I believe the language is for the current year's budget. I could be wrong.
No, they're, right, that's for,
yeah.
I didn't say what amount, I just said for the, I'm assuming that they didn't give a dollar amount.
Okay.
I just said they are going to correct for this year's. And I'm sure they will correct for next year as well, but just to let everybody know that that's already out there.
Any other discussion on the budget, board members? So for me, I look over this, and on one hand, I think this, going forward with a number, was it 6.1? You know, going forward with a 6.1 million request, I mean, this has kind of been I guess, somewhat of a philosophical discussion, and one rooted in reality, of course, between what is it that we need, what is it that we think we can get from the Board of Supervisors, what is it that they have, what can they raise, It is somewhat of a balancing act, and I don't really see any line items in this budget that we can really remove at this point or reduce significantly enough. Of course, the big one is the salary enhancement of the 5%, but if we give that one up, then we give up a bunch of state money too. So I think until we get better numbers, I think that we're going to have, for me, I'll vote yes for the budget because I think we need to move forward with that, but we also need to, have some discussions with our counterparts at the Board of Supervisors about what's happening. So, okay. Well, I think we need a motion. Does anyone wish to make a motion approving this funding request for the proposed operating budget and the proposed school nutrition budget?
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? All right, I have a motion and a second. Unless there's any more discussion.
Do those as separate budgets items? We typically do that as separate. Yeah.
Okay.
Can we have just a few moments?
Sure.
To take the system?
Yep.
Thank you.
I guess.
Okay, we have two motions there. The first one is going to be for school operating.
Okay. Do we need to make the motion again?
Motion again?
If Ms. Bond and Ms. Graham agree that that's what their motion and their second were for, we can move forward.
So for school operation only, not the nutrition piece? Okay. All right, I have a motion and a second. Ms. Woods, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin? Ms. Graham?
Because it's not, wait, I wasn't finished, I wasn't off.
I'm sorry.
Because it's not enough for us to keep moving this district forward and to be able to help fill some of those positions that we're not filling. And it's a continuous thing. So, no.
Okay. Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Mr. Chewbacca?
Yes.
5 in favor.
Motion carries. Do I have a motion approving the funding request for the proposed school nutrition budget?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Ms. Woods, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Mr. Chewbacca?
Yes.
6 in favor.
Motion carries. All right. Next item on the agenda, the MCPS safety update.
It's okay. I can do it right now. Where did it come from?
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Dr. Bragan. I appreciate the time this evening to bring a safety briefing for our community. I'd like to start first by saying that school safety is broad. Even just tonight, you've heard a great example of school safety in the training and reaction of Deputy Parks. You've also addressed school safety as you've discussed the budget and our call for athletic trainers. So right now, while I certainly understand that a lot of people across the Commonwealth are very much concerned with school safety in terms of weapons in schools, it's much bigger than that. I understand that, but it's broader. So I like to think that school safety involves everything from water fountains to weapons, and that's how we'll proceed with the presentation this evening.
I'm sorry, we need just a few moments.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, ma'am. So tonight's purposes, we want to discuss some of our current practices regarding safety initiatives. We want to talk about our current school safety survey, the results as they come in. And we want to prepare for the next board meeting where we'll bring you final findings from our safety results, from our safety survey, and hopefully be able to discuss some recommendations with the board. Starting with some of our standard processes, these are text-heavy slides. Forgive that, please. I don't intend to read it all to you. It is there available to you and to the community for review. But just to touch on some of the high points, we do complete all of the required DCJS and VDOE requirements for their annual school safety audit. Our schools are equipped with locking buzz-in systems at every main entryway. We do have video surveillance throughout every school building. We do operate threat assessment teams at both the school level and the division level. And of course, we practice all the required drills that everyone, I think, has become familiar with at this point. As mentioned earlier, 12 of our 20 schools do have an individually assigned SRO. The other 8 do have available law enforcement support, scheduled, planned, prepared, so that they do have that visibility in the school and also have that availability to respond as needed. We also have a school counselor in every building. Our largest school has 5. We also have a school nurse in every building and 2 float nurses over the last several years to help support those needs in the bigger clinics or when we have special projects going on or if we have an issue regarding finding a substitute for a school nurse. All of our schools are equipped with AEDs, bleed control kits, stock epinephrine, and Narcan. Teams in every building are trained in nonviolent crisis prevention. This includes not only de-escalation, but also training if we were ever in a position where we had to restrain a student, we can restrain that student safely for the student and also for the adults involved. But again, de-escalation is the larger part of that training. Youth mental health first aid training is available to all personnel as optional. And then lastly, as mentioned earlier by Dr. Bragan, we are very proud of our positive working relationships with local law enforcement, EMS, fire rescue, and our health department. Some notable initiatives just over the past year, just to go through, and again, text heavy, so I won't read it all to you. We did have back in the summer tactical team drills at one of our elementary schools. We do continue to have our quarterly law enforcement meetings. We've had 2 so far this year. Our first lockdown drill this year has already been conducted, and it's our first full drill since the pandemic. Schools had a waiver during the pandemic where it was more educational and less drill. We're back to standard drills at this point. You can see some of the training that our school personnel are attending, the National Threat Assessment Conference, local conferences. You can see division personnel and also at times division personnel with our local law enforcement partners. And you can also see how we bring that training back and share that with our administrators at the building level. Currently, we're working on an MOU with DCJS to support the funding of collaborative response graphics. These are essentially tactical maps for the buildings. Comes from a military background. We're in the works to get those completed for all 20 of our school buildings to be able to get in, support safely and quickly, and make sure we've got that communication for folks who maybe even are unfamiliar with our buildings. Of course, we continue with our next local law enforcement meeting. And then, of course, you've had some direct correspondence from our superintendent, first to our staff following the tragedy in Newport News, and then also later to the community, stressing how important it is for us to have open lines of communication and how we support each other during these tragedies or during these times when we have safety concerns. That takes us up to January 26th. January 27th, we released the current school safety survey. And maybe this timing is providential, I'm not sure. This survey has been in the works for a long time. It's part of your strategic plan. It was written back in 2021, so it's been in the works prior to any recent tragedy. We actually drafted the survey in the fall. Survey went out on Friday the 27th. At the time I put the slideshow together, you had 1,800 responses. Checking today, we're up to 2,100 plus, and the survey is still open. We're pleased to say that we have responses from every school, to this point. We're also happy to say 64% of those responses are parents, 25% faculty and staff at the school level, 3% other employees such as bus drivers or school board employees, 2% community members, and as of this afternoon, 6% students, although we are making an effort to include more students. We wanted more student voice, so we've asked our secondary principals as of yesterday at the principals meeting to push that survey directly out to their students to try to hear from more students. The survey link is there in the slideshow for anybody who would like to take a look that hasn't already responded. And again, it's open through Friday the 10th. The survey essentially asks, choose your top 3 priorities from the list. And I won't read the whole list to you, but essentially these are all things that we've discussed either in safety meetings or we're seeing implemented in other places or just discussions that we've had with our law enforcement partners. They just represent a lot of common safety ideas. There are others. We know we didn't include all of them, but that's where this list came from. We felt 3 was a manageable number. Some folks have said, gosh, I wish I could pick 5. Some folks have said maybe 3 is too many, but we settled on 3. We did leave at the bottom a narrative opportunity where they could add anything we have missed or any other thoughts that they may have shared. I am very pleased to say that we've gotten a large number of responses in the narrative. I'm also very pleased to say that personally from Jason's perspective, these are very genuine, sincere comments. People are taking this survey seriously and they are giving good suggestions. And in my opinion, they are speaking their heart in regards to safety. So I'm appreciative of that. Initially, our initial feedback results, and again, the survey remains open, so please don't take this to the bank just yet, but currently the 3 options that are receiving the most conversation, the most selections, are increasing SRO staffing to 1 per every building. Locking doors on all classroom spaces, I think that one bears a little bit of an explanation because we do have, number 1, some classes that take place not in the ordinary classroom, maybe a theater class in the auditorium, being sure that those spaces are lockable and being locked. But we also still have some schools that kind of have the open school model to a degree, either in a hallway or in a section, a wing of the building. Those spaces still don't have their own doors. And lastly, metal detectors at main entry points. So that's current initial feedback. What we see as our next steps, we obviously need to finalize the collection of the data. We need to prepare a report for you, the board, to take a look at and receive that information. And we would discuss recommendations based on what we see from the survey results. Again, we plan that next presentation at your next school board meeting. That ends the presentation. I am available to try to answer any questions and also take any direction or guidance that the board may care to share in regards to what you would see at your next meeting. Thank you.
So I had a question, but you actually answered it for me as you were going through that. It was really about that student voice, right? I want to make sure that the students are actively encouraged to engage in this, right? Because as I look at all those options, to me, one of those is not like the others, right? All those things are great ideas that can more or less be integrated into the school day without much of an impact on the students. Those metal detectors, a totally different beast, right? You're changing students' daily lives in terms of how they come and go in their schools. Like I don't like to fly anymore because of metal detectors. Just going through that process, right? I couldn't imagine our students having to do that on a daily basis. Understand the value, understand a lot of things that they could head out, but I would really want to hear their students' take on that before we even consider implementing something like that in our schools.
Mr. Yoss is still here.
Hey, if only we had a student up here who could talk.
Going off of what Mr. Hudson said, if we could, is there any way that we could extend the deadline for that survey? That'd be great because I just checked my email. I haven't got anything yet for the survey. And then also we had discussed before with my student advisory committee at CHS was definitely the metal detectors, vape detectors, which I also saw, but also bulletproof glass for at least the bottom level and for the side area of the new building at Christopher High School.
We can certainly extend the survey as long as the board would like.
Are we getting responses from students? Were they?
We had
low coming or?
we had an extremely small number
Okay.
headed into the weekend. We asked principals yesterday, secondary principals yesterday, to push that out to their students. Received a good number of responses starting earlier today. I have not looked since probably 4:30. We certainly can do what the board would guide us to do.
I think all the schools should have the same amount of time to respond. So if some schools, it was pushed out and they already have access and others don't, then those schools need to be extended to the same amount of time that the other schools had the time to respond. Or we can just do it one day.
Board, anyone else?
I would like to echo Mr. Hudson. I would like to see more student input. I've been pushing my daughter to fill that survey out. Hopefully she has, but I'll double check on that. But I do appreciate the parent and the staff input. Being a part of that from the initial get-go with you, Mr. Garrettson, when this whole strategic plan started. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve on the safety team, and I love to see the direction it's going. We had a vision, and it looks like things are starting to come together. Would there possibly be a way we could get the students to get time at school in a class just to go in? I mean, it wouldn't take more than 2 or 3 minutes, maybe in their whatever class, if a teacher says, okay, if you guys haven't done your survey, you guys jump on there real quick right now and let's get this survey done before we start class, or something of that nature. I know sometimes kids have good intentions, and I do too as an adult, but if we don't do something right when we're thinking about it, it tends to go and you forget about it. So I was wondering if that would be a
Yes, ma'am.
possibility.
The IE period is probably the best time to be able to do that at school. Since we are talking about secondary schools, I'm happy to work with Mr. Pauly to see if we can ensure that
Just to
that
see if that
happens.
helps get more of those responses in. I think they all want to do it and think about it. They just are so busy and just tend to sometimes, not think about it. Say, oh yeah, I'm going to do it, and then just kind of forget to do it, so.
And again, if I can brag on the students a little bit, the responses we have received, their narrative responses, again, are very, very thought-provoking and very much speak, again, what I believe is their beliefs and their desires regarding safety.
That's great news. Glad to hear that.
So are we going to have more discussion when the survey results actually come in? Are we going to hold off and put it again on an agenda item before we have a discussion? Okay.
I believe I'm scheduled to come back at your next meeting, and we'll share and present that data. And then, of course, the board can discuss and continue as long as you wish, of course.
Okay.
Also, I'm not sure if our fellow police departments and law enforcement are still doing this, but I know we used to do like unexpected or surprise checks with even the canine dogs just walking down the lockers, and I think definitely in the school parking lots also for the secondary schools. That'd be very important.
Yep, we've actually had that discussion recently, as recent as January. I think it's in the presentation, but I jumped over that bullet points, but just didn't speak to that one. We do plan to return with the canines to the building and to into the parking lots as we did prior to the pandemic.
Perfect. Sounds
Yes,
good.
sir.
Thank you.
One last question for me. Do we already have costs associated with any of these options yet, or is that like a next step for?
I think that would be a next step. These all are topics that have been discussed, kicked around, mentioned, suggested. I think we know some of them are more expensive than others, but I'm not in a position to give you any numbers at this time.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
So my input, I think, to the staff would just be, I don't want to micromanage how you do it, but I do think it's important to get input from all our stakeholders. And on this issue, definitely the students are a big stakeholder. So we definitely, if you need to extend it a week or two, if you need to stagger it, depending on certain schools having been open longer or whatever, I think all that stuff gets weighted anyway, but however you want to do it is fine, as long as you can present us the data and we can get a clearer picture on the thinking of the stakeholders. I think that's what would be important to me.
I think we can get that done with Mr. Pauly. Yes, sir.
All right.
Just on that, Board Chair, we want to make sure we try to get the information to the board on the 21st board meeting, right? So that's why we picked the 10th as the deadline. I think I'll work with Mr. Garrettson and our team. If we could extend it maybe to middle of next week, it'll still give us time to digest all the data and come to you with some good suggestions. You think that works?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll flesh that out tomorrow, the next day.
And just adding to my statement, that if, from my point of view, if you need more time and we want to move it to the next
we'll
meeting,
assess
that's
all
fine with me. I mean, if that's okay with the rest of the board, if that's your opinion, then that's okay. So.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So you guys have some leeway there.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the sexual assault policy. Looks like it'll be Mr. Knott.
So we have begun looking at a sexual assault policy, what that would look like, what we already have in place, what maybe we need to change. And the first step that we have taken is to do some research. And we've been looking at policies in other districts in Virginia. So far, we haven't found any that have a standalone sexual assault policy. Most of them have included either a sexual assault section in their sexual harassment policy, or they've included the terms sexual violence in their listing of things that would be included in their sexual harassment policy. You know, we definitely want to work smarter here and make sure that whatever we bring to you is a good policy. And we're kind of feeling like right now we're creating something from scratch. And so we want to make sure it's good. So that's why we're doing the research that we're doing. So right now we're going to continue to research to see what else we find. Our policy, sexual harassment, does not include the term sexual violence, but that is something that at minimum I think we need to add to ours. And while we're looking at our sexual harassment policy, we're also looking at dividing that policy out. Currently we have one policy. That policy covers students, that policy covers employees, and that policy also covers any other kinds of complaints that someone may have. And we need to separate that out to make it more clear as to what we really have and make it more a policy that's better to understand. So we are also working on that. We do have in our crisis plan a section for sexual assault. And Mr. Garrettson is responsible for our school crisis plan, so he's going to discuss that part with you right now.
And again, just back to the prior conversation, safety's broad. So here again, you see it come up in policy. We do have a small segment in the crisis plan that speaks to sexual assault. It does talk about some guidance, some recommended steps for school leaders. You can see those listed there. It does include notifying law enforcement, the student's parent or guardian. It also talks about in terms of if it's reported that the assault took place at school, we would be doing things like protecting the scene as a potential crime scene, moving the individual away to kind of protect them and help give them that time to not be in the middle of the crime scene, but also not leave them alone. So again, it talks about us not extending beyond our ability to question. One of our speakers earlier talked about law enforcement work versus school work. That's maybe a time where the questioning needs to occur by a law enforcement officer, not one of us. Ultimately, again, for any forensics that would need to take place, guidelines about eating, drinking, changing clothes, and then notifying our central office and documenting our actions. The process is essentially the same in the crisis plan, whether it's a student or whether it's an adult, whether it is reported as taking place at school or outside of school. I think one thing that I would note and just share is as Mr. Knott continues to do his work, the crisis plans are written with a lot of opportunity, their guidance, because we need to be flexible. We need to be able to handle the incident at hand. Something that would come in policy would be, in my opinion, much more regimented, much more codified than what would maybe be available in a crisis plan. So we shared that with him as we talked a little bit about this work and as he continues to research where this might have a place and the best place in our guidelines, documents, and policies.
So what are our next steps? Again, I want to continue to research and see if I can find a policy in the state of Virginia that addresses sexual assault. I want to update our current policies, separating them out, like I said before. And then if there are any other actions that the board would like us to take, we certainly want to know those and work towards that as well.
Okay, so from what I heard tonight, it seems like there may be a gap or where victims are being harassed because of what may have taken place, and that's just wrong, okay? So what do we have in place to protect victims?
So we have our code of conduct in our schools now that our students are supposed to follow. And if they're violating that, then our school administrations become involved in that when they know about it, and they have to provide that protection for those students.
Okay, there just seems to be something there's a gap. There's something that's missing. Maybe it's not necessarily law enforcement, but someone outside of the school system that a victim can speak to about what is happening to them inside the building to make sure they're being heard and that actions are taken, because there's a gap somewhere.
Okay.
I guess that was going to be kind of my comment as well. I was trying to figure it out in my head, but just some kind of enduring support for these victims, right?
Sure.
It really plays into the bigger overarching concept of just better mental health in general, right? You know, no matter what is ailing our students, especially if something has happened to them, something terrible like this, and there's a lot of other cases that we could probably think of as well, right? And just trying to find better support for our students, but tying into the bullying as well, no matter what the bullying or harassment is about, right? So I feel like there's just a much bigger nut there that needs to be cracked. Certainly I appreciate this, but this is a very like incident-driven kind of thing, right? But it's that long-term enduring stuff that we got to keep working on.
Well, certainly we do have our school counselors, and we do have New River Valley Community Services counselors, but I think our counselors also can help try to find, and Jason may be able to speak better to this, and if I misspeak, Jason, please step in. But our counselors, our school counselors can try to help find outside resources as well for our students who are enduring harassment or who are enduring mental health issues due to situations that they have been in. I'm sorry, I didn't understand exactly what, Ms. Franklin, you were talking about, and I hope I'm understanding it now. But I think we have some things in place. Is it all encompassing? No. Could we do better? Probably, yeah, in certain instances.
Yeah. Well, I'm not necessarily talking about what we have in place to help the victim endure, but to help the harassment and the bullying to stop.
Okay.
So that they don't have to keep enduring.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, next is supplemental appropriation. Board, do I have a motion to authorize a request of the Board of Supervisors for a supplemental appropriation to the 22-23 school operating budget for $2.154 million?
Second.
Any discussion on this? Ms. Woods, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Mr. Trebaka?
Yes,
Six in favor.
the motion carries. And next, we have the appropriation of funds for capital projects. Do I have a motion to authorize a request to the Board of Supervisors for an appropriation of funds for capital projects as presented?
Yes.
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Woods, please call the roll.
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes.
Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Mr. Chewbacca?
Yes.
6 in favor.
Motion carries. All right, next on the agenda is unfinished business. Any items of unfinished business, board members? Next is new business. Does anyone have any new business they would like to bring up?
There is a few things I would like to speak about.
Okay.
For starters, if we could somehow get a program similar to the work-based learning, except instead of it being paid-based or internship-based, if we could do it as volunteering-based. So if a student is completing, for example, let's say like 80 hours of volunteering community service within a semester or within the school year, then they'd be able to get a credit for that, helping them towards their GPA. And then also, I believe something that we had started previously a few years ago was the community service graduation seal. But I'm not sure what the progress on that is. And I believe, I know the counselor, or my counselor at least, asked me about community service hours I've already completed. And I believe that we do a certification or like a recognition at the end of the year, but I'm not sure if we have a seal for community service.
Does anyone have information on that? Off the top of my head, I am not positive, although on the first one, I thought that it could be volunteer, no?
I don't think we currently have it, but we'll look into that and see what we can do.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
And then also, I know I've previously discussed about governor school students and the transition to their main school. I'm hearing there's some changes going on with the Southwest Governor School, and this could be an opportunity for us to think about how we can lessen the time and so that students aren't missing the IE period or instructional time, because usually in the IE period is when all the clubs and all the groups decide to meet and discuss.
I'm on that committee, and they're still trying to find out where that location is going to be.
Okay.
You know, they haven't narrowed it down. So when we get that information, we will obviously share that with the full board.
Okay.
Mr. Hudson, you're on the committee too, I believe.
Yeah.
And then there was one more thing that I would like to discuss. I wanted to introduce the idea of possibly doing a 4-day school week. Some of the general research that I've done is there's 560 school districts so far that have at least one school that's using a 4-day school week. And there's some benefits for the human resource department. It would be able to attain teachers, and it would be able to allow for a greater work balance between the students, or between the teachers, like a work-life balance for the teachers. There's benefits for the students, and even there's benefits for the budget. It'd be less wear and tear on the buses, the electricity on that last day. And then if we were able to do like the 5th day as asynchronous, like we used to do during the pandemic, or even like an early release asynchronous day, so half the day would be dedicated for students to get extra help, to make up tests and all that stuff, and then the other half would be for teachers for planning.
All right. A list of good ideas, and
I'm just going to make a comment to that. That sounds great for the secondary education, but you also have to put it in aspect for the elementary education, and that's not such a great model for that age group. So for me, that's why I probably couldn't support that, because it puts a burden on parents, it puts a burden, not that we use schools for daycare by no means, but it's still a statute that we've come accustomed to. And during COVID, when we did do things like that, it was a real burden for a lot of parents for, early elementary education kids. And yeah, high school, it's okay because they can stay alone. But so when you look at something like that, in my opinion, you have to look at the whole education, not just kids that can drive and take care of themselves.
So I was thinking more for the 4-day to be for the secondary, but also we were thinking about the elementary. I think we already have an early childhood care program. If we were able to extend that to be a full day, and that's what some of the other school districts are doing, so that the extra day would be, the schools would be acting like a daycare, and then that would allow for extra funding and to benefit for the last time.
So the way when we go to our our board PD, which is the VSBA, NSBA conferences, a lot of times there's other districts that have done new ideas, whatever they are, whether it's a 4-day work week, whether it's flipping the times and things like that. And so a lot of times ideas will come out of that. It sounds like you've already done a little bit of research, and there's already districts that do that. I think, these are all certainly things that we can discuss in the future. Some of them might need a little bit more information before we get them on the agenda. So I would love to see if you could email the rest of the board member, or email to me, and I'll get it out to the board members, some of the, some of the research that you're looking into on this. I would definitely entertain it.
Yeah, I can go ahead and share this doc with you. I have a few pages of it, but I don't want to read it all. I know you guys are tired.
No, that's fine. That's good. Thanks. Any other board members? Anything? I'll piggyback on that last topic on the 4-day work week. I was the other day thinking back to when I first joined the board with the the whole time change thing, and of course, all the controversy that was around that. And it was interesting to where I think we got as a community on that, where there was some agreement that what we were doing wasn't a good idea, and so we ended up with kind of a slightly different idea. At the time, I did think that we said that we would like to someday revisit it, and I'm not suggesting that we put it on the agenda, but for things like this, these things are research based, and there are certainly other school systems that have done that to great success. So I do want to maybe plant that seed for the board if that's something that we would ever consider, looking into again. And obviously, if we wanted to pursue it, I think we'd do it in a slightly different way than we did it last time. But I think it is an idea that has merit. So.
Well, I'm going to make a comment. Sorry, has been very, very much involved in that previous one. A lot of times school systems that are smaller, it worked out for the same thing with early childhood education. You're talking 20 kids. So you've got a county that may have 1,000. That's much different than an early education program that can host 20 or 25 children. My daughter attended that, so I'm very aware of it. But same thing with the hours. That we started out looking at how it could benefit, once again, secondary education. And there was some agreement on things like that, but when it came to looking at what would happen to the younger children, that's when it was like, just, wow. So.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure that it's clear when it came down to what we were going to do there, the information that we had been given was not correct, and the bus schedules would not work. So that was the big determining factor to say, we got to turn this around, we're not doing it. It was not, we came to a compromise, it wouldn't work. So if we want to talk about a 4-day work week, 4-day school day, for me, year-round school, I think, is something that we need that would help benefit our students and, quite frankly, our families, I believe. But anyway, so if we're going to do research on one, let's do research on that one too.
I did just want to say something about that. I was talking to one of our governor's school students today, and they actually were agreeing with you that the year-long school would be more beneficial to students, because although it's going to be longer, we have like that break in the summer, which we do enjoy our summers, but we usually, most of the students forget the information that they learned, and whenever they go back next semester, they don't really remember everything. So I just want to say that I had one of the governor's school students agree with you on that.
And there are other extended breaks throughout the year, so it's just not, you're constantly going to school. Nobody wants to do that, right? But.
All right. If there's no more new business to discuss, we're at announcements and information. Any announcements, board members? Go ahead,
I
Jen.
would just like to say, I was one of the ones that brought up about the elementary school receptions and wondering when we were going to have them. So I do hope to go to the one tomorrow night, but Thursday night, one of my barber's mother passed away, and her viewing is Thursday night, so I won't be there. and I do apologize. I believe it's CES that's Thursday night, because I would love to go, but my employees supported me tremendously when my dad passed away, and I want to do the same. So please forgive me for not being there. CES people, if you're watching or listening, I know that I was looking forward to it, but I will have to miss that one, so.
Yeah. And I'll be out of town for the Bellevue. I thought trying to get 3 and was going to be a miracle, and it didn't happen. So really going to hate that, because I've been waiting to celebrate for a long time.
Any others? I have an announcement. I understand that it's an election year. People are talking about running and not running, so I wanted to go ahead and state my intentions. It's been probably one of the best honors of my life to represent the constituents of District G on this school board. I'm a believer in good government, and I think good government requires citizen participation, and that's all citizens. I feel like I've always pushed for the involvement of all voices, even voices I don't necessarily agree with, and I just think that it's important to have people like me on the school board, people like, and I think it's important to have people like you all on the school board. I think having somebody who's a parent and works full-time is an important thing to do. It's not easy to do. This is an extra part-time job. Parenting is an extra part-time or full-time job. But I think it's important, especially on this board, to have, the whole gamut, people who have been through the whole thing, people who are in the middle of it. The flip side of that is I think that people like me can't really do this forever, although I think I would love to do it as long as possible. So for now, I have decided not to seek my 3rd term this year. I will not close the door on joining Penny in her 40th year on the school board somewhere down the road. Or Jamie, or maybe Linwood in his 20th year or 15th year. Yeah. So, but I do, I want to make this announcement early because I do think that it's, the rhetoric, I think, is such that, we need good people, and I think we need to encourage the next round of busy, smart people, parents, workers, people who care about schools and public education. And, the one thing that I will say, being on this board right now, is that every single one of these members of this board here, and I'll count Sue even though she's not here, I'm proud to be on this board with them. We don't necessarily always agree on everything, but every single one of you cares about public education, and you advocate for our students, you advocate for all of our students. So anybody who's thinking about joining the board, think about it, especially in District G, and come join these good people up here. So that's it for me. All right. If there's no other announcements or information, upcoming school board meetings is on board docs. The next item is we're going to go back into closed session, but I was going to ask, are the kids that are doing the drones out in the back there? Because can we take, I don't know the order that I want to do this, but if they're waiting on us, they're not. Okay. All right. Okay, good. Well, that was a good decision on their part. Smart kids. All right. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't keep them waiting any longer. So the next order of business is to go into closed session to discuss, let's see, I need a motion to go into closed session as authorized by Section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia to discuss 2 personnel matters and 2 student matters.
Second.
Ms. Woods, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Bond?
Yes.
Ms. Franklin? Yes. Ms. Graham?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Ms. Parton?
Yes.
Mr. Chewbacca?
Yes.
6 in favor.
Motion carries. We're in closed session.